Here are some of the craziest NASCAR crashes of all time, and we'll begin here at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. Daytona is a 2.5 mile long super speedway and is a destination for the first race of NASCAR's regular season. This race, known as the Daytona 500, is easily NASCAR's most watched race for how chaotic it can quickly get. That's because it's a crown jewel event, and thus drivers will get extremely aggressive trying to win to etch their names in history. One of those moments took place in the 2019 edition of the race. There are 10 laps to go in the race, and Denny Hamlin comes off turn 2 with the lead, with teammate Kyle Busch alongside him. Behind Hamlin is underdog Matt DiBenedetto, who is also in a Toyota. As they head down the straightaway, Busch gets a huge push from the number 14 of Clint Bowyer. This allowed Busch to start to pull ahead of Hamlin, but once he was about to clear, the big one would strike.
Oh, no, DiBenedetto! And everybody!
Good. Oh, no. Are you kidding me? This is big. Wow. But it...
Practically the entire front pack of cars were collected, as only 10 cars from the pack of upwards of 25 escaped with minimal damage. If you thought this crash was massive, stick around to the end where I show you this crash which took out 37 cars in total. But before we get there, we'll go back 4 years to the year 2015. This time, we focus on one of the greatest annual traditions in NASCAR, the Coke 0400. Before it was eventually removed, this race had the honor of being ran on the 4th of July weekend. A majority of the teams would run special patriotic cars to celebrate America's birthday, and it certainly happened that year. However, we're going to focus on what happened at the very end of the race. As the pack comes to take the final lap of the race, fan favorite Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leading the field. He is defending both working lanes, the inside lane held by driver Denny Hamlin and the outside lane held by his teammate Jimmie Johnson. Jr. had perfectly blocked both lanes throughout the final lap, and when they came off turn 4, he was still in the lead, ducking down low to block Hamlin's run. Jr. would cross the finish line first to win the Coke 0400, but little did everyone know what was about to happen after the race.
Junior will win at Daytona! And the big one happens behind them! Oh my God!
Team members from nearby pit stalls immediately ran onto the track to see if Austin Dillon was okay, and thankfully he was, with all of them putting their thumbs up to signal that he was alert. In fact, he was able to get out of the car and walk under his own power, showing how incredible NASCAR safety really is. In case you're wondering how this wreck even began, it started right here when Denny Hamlin got turned by the number 4 of Kevin Harvick, whose front end clipped Dillon's car and sent him airborne into the catch fence. This crash was extremely violent, but this crash at the Bristol Motor Speedway was even worse. Bristol is a half-mile long short track and is known for its high speeds and narrow racing. Due to these factors, it's become a fan favorite among fans. The carnage that can be created at such a small track makes it one of the most anticipated races every single year. And one of those years where destruction would occur was in 1990. During a Busch Series race, which is now known as the Xfinity Series, Michael Waltrip would have one of the worst crashes I've ever seen.
Waltrip's car begins to slip and slide on the outside and contacts the concrete wall nearly head-on. The car is sawed in half by that concrete barrier there. One of the most spectacular and violent crashes I have ever seen, Ed Jarrett.
Jerry, I've been involved in auto racing for more than 30 years, and I don't remember ever seeing a car torn up this much.
He would hit the point where the guardrail and concrete merged, resulting in the car being instantly decimated. There were pieces scattered all over the track, and judging by the looks of the car, fans watching thought that he was gone. But in an absolute miracle, Michael survived the impact and was able to get out of the car. This is easily one of the most vicious crashes that NASCAR has ever seen, and thankfully safety innovations to track have prevented something like this to happen in the modern era. All of these crashes that we've seen have been on ovals, but this one takes place at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. This is a 2.45 mile long road course and is one of my personal favorite tracks that NASCAR goes to. It's been the host of extremely entertaining finishes over the years, such as the 2012 race which I covered in a separate video, but I want to go back to a year prior to the 2011 running of the race, which contained one of the most unexpected flips in NASCAR history. On the final lap, the number 9 of Marcus Ambrose was leading over the number 2 of Brad Keselowski and the number 18 of Kyle Busch. These three would get through the first portion of the track cleanly, but it was an entirely different story behind them. While exiting turn 1 and heading towards the SS portion of the track, the number 6 of David Reagan would get turned by Boris Said and hit the outside outside retaining wall. The impact would ricochet him back into traffic, and this would be the result of it.
Oh, goodness. 6 gets, it's like, oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
Wow. Like Morris said, got into the 6 car. David Reagan. My.
Even though his car went fully upside down, NASCAR didn't throw the caution right away, and only threw it when Tony Stewart got spun through the grass in the bus stop portion of the track. At that point, crashes like this in NASCAR didn't happen at all, with flips at road courses only really occurring during the 1990s and prior. Everyone involved was thankfully okay and was able to get out of their cars without injury. Now, we've seen wrecks from some different eras of NASCAR, but now we're heading all the way back to the early years of the sport at the 1960 Daytona 500. The field is about to restart when absolute carnage breaks in turn 4.
Takes 37 cars out of the race.
I honestly believe that this race was the birthplace of the term ARCA brakes because none of these guys slowed down to avoid the wreck. All of them just kept piling in, and a total of 37 cars were involved, taking out 24 of those. This today holds the record for being the biggest crash in motorsports history, and it is honestly a spectacle to watch. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.